there, my name is Renee Gonser, and today we are going to be talking about reefs. Specifically, saving our reefs, why they matter, and how we can help. So, picture this. You're swimming in clear blue water, surrounded by bright, colorful coral and hundreds of fish moving like a living rainbow. Now imagine that same place, but it's completely white, silent, and empty. Now, this isn't a distant possibility. It's happening right now to our coral reefs across the entire planet. And today we're going to talk about coral reef degradation, what it is, why it matters, why it should matter to you, and how people around the world are actually making a difference. So let's jump right into it. So, what exactly is the problem? Well, there's a few of them, actually. It's not just one. So, coral reef degradation refers to the decline and the damage of coral reef ecosystems. This is mainly caused by climate change, pollution, overfishing, and coastal development. While one of the biggest threats is coral bleaching. Now, what is coral bleaching? You're probably asking that because I asked myself the same thing until I went and did research on it. So I'm going to tell you so that you don't have to go and Google it. Although I still would recommend doing that. All right. So, coral reef bleaching. What is it? Why does it happen? When does it happen? Cause and effect. The whole thing. So, coral bleaching happens when the ocean temperatures rise, corals become stressed, and then they expel their food. That's right. But it's not just their food, it is also their color. And that is from their algae. That's right, they eat the algae in the ocean. And when they get stressed, just like human beings, sometimes we don't eat enough. We forget to eat, and we actually, not too healthy. And this algae also helps with the color of the coral. All those super bright colors that you always see, that is actually from the algae that they eat. Just like how flamingos turn pink because they eat shrimp. Although, I don't know if that's a truth or a myth, but that's what I heard. It's the same thing. They turn fun, bright colors. This issue is extremely serious, though. I know I'm joking around about it and being all happy and stuff, but it is actually quite sad. Coral reefs actually support 25% of all marine species. That doesn't sound like a lot, I know. But when you compare it to the 1% of the ocean that they are covering, it actually is kind of a big part of it. So I do want to hurry up and get right into the local and global impacts. Because guess what? It is not just the coral reef that it impacts. It actually is a lot bigger of a problem than we thought, but that's okay. So let's get into it. Sorry, that was really loud. Alright, so globally, coral reef loss affects biodiversity, ocean health, and even climate systems. Reefs also play a role in protecting coastlines from storms. So what do I mean by that? Basically, the coral reefs actually they move around how the water, like which way the water goes. I cannot think of the right word for it, but that's okay. And it basically slows the water down rather than it just, kind of being an open area. There is a lot of fun experiments that you can do to kind of see this in person if you don't live near like an ocean or something. So I highly recommend going on Google and looking up some experiments that you can do with this. They're super fun. I have actually done a couple of them myself. Locally, the impact is even more direct. Millions of people rely on the reefs for food, right? That's kind of a given, but not a lot of people know that either. Income and, like I said, protection. If reefs disappear, then the fish population declines, tourism drops, and coastal communities become more vulnerable to the storms. And even if you don't live near the ocean, this still affects you through stuff like rising seafood prices. Because, I mean, come on, they are already kind of expensive. And then, you know, the more that the coral reefs kind of go, and then, you know, unfortunately, die, the less fish we get, and the more expensive it gets. But it's not just that, it's also economic impacts and climate change. So, who's affected by this? Everybody, basically. Some more than others, but essentially everybody, but in different ways. So, who is affected by this, and how does it connect to you? Well, I mean, technically, everybody is affected by this. But in different ways, and also some more than others. So the groups that are most affected by this are fishermen, tourism workers, and coastal communities. Think about it like this. Coral reefs, they're like underwater cities and farms. When they collapse, everything else kind of collapses, right? Like the food systems, economies, and natural protections worldwide. So it's not just one little thing. It never is, right? Cause and effect. There we go. That's a good thing. Cause and effect. When something happens, there's going to be an effect to it. All right. I want to go into the next segment of this wonderful, amazing podcast created by moi. So let's get right into it. I want to introduce you to someone called Maria. Now, Maria, I do want to just let you guys know, is a made-up character that I made up. But, still, very important. So, listen to this part. Maria, right, is a small-scale fisher. Maria has relied on coral reefs her entire life, but over time, she noticed fewer fish and smaller catches. When fishing restrictions were introduced to protect the reef, she was frustrated. And honestly, that reaction does make sense. I mean, if your income depended on something and then suddenly you were told to limit it, you would probably feel the same way. Am I right? Now, Maria is not against protecting the environment, but she was worried about surviving. Because what have we talked about in the past couple minutes, right? We've talked about fishing going down and prices going up and all of this stuff, right? And people are affected by it, not just as a group, but individuals. But over time, something changed. Her community created something called a marine protected area, which is where fishing is limited, right? Marine protected areas are a certain width and length, right? A certain percentage of an area that you can't fish. Or if you can, it's very limited and it's usually used for scientific purposes, right? So they created these areas, and at first it seemed like things were going to get worse, right? You know, not really sure what's happening, how it's going to work. But then, within a few years, fish populations started to, guess what? Recover. Oh yeah. Eventually, there were more fish, not just in the protected area, but outside too, which means that Maria was able to catch more fish and become more stable. This shows that conservation and livelihoods don't have to be in conflict. They can support each other, right? You can't just have a house with 2 walls or even 3 walls, right? You can't hold up a roof with only a couple of walls. You need all four, which means that y'all gotta have people working together. Now, there are some things that you can do as an individual, which I will go over in a minute. Right now, we're going to go over solutions. So, what are the solutions? Some of the most effective ones include 1. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions to slow climate change. 2. Creating marine protected areas, which I told you about before. 3. Reducing pollution and runoffs. And 4, promoting sustainable fishing practices. What does that mean? What is a sustainable fishing practice? Because I know a lot of us here don't actually go fishing. I myself am a fisher. I love fishing. But a lot of people don't know what it is. So what is it? It means that you don't just go out and catch all of the fish in one area, or 70% of the fish in one area. It's where you go and you say, okay, I'm going to do 10% of the fishing in this area, 10% of the fishing in this area. You're going to split it up and you're going to fish in different areas, and you're not going to take all of the fish because we got to share, right? We can't be taking everything. These solutions work because they address both the cause and effect of reef degradation. I mentioned that earlier, cause and effect. So this issue is very closely tied to the carbon cycle. Increased carbon dioxide leads to ocean warming and acidification, which harms the coral reefs. It also connects to planetary boundaries, especially climate change and biodiversity loss. And human activities like burning fossil fuels, pollution, and overfishing have pushed these systems beyond safe limits. What are some of the things that you can do? You can reduce your carbon footprint, choose sustainable seafood, support conservation efforts, and spread awareness. Now, I know a lot of you guys are not able to actually physically go out and work in the ocean, right? Or volunteer, because there's only so much of the United States, and there's only so much of the world even, that is next to the ocean and stuff. So a lot of you guys are only going to be able to spread awareness. So how can we do that? Let's go over that right now, shall we? All right. So spreading awareness, super, super important for a lot of us. As like I just said, a lot of us can't actually go and do the physical part of it. So something that I want you guys to do today, if you're listening to this, is open up your phone, go click on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, because I know you guys have at least one of them, right? You're going to go and you're going to create a post. If you're on TikTok, then go and hit the little plus button, record yourself a video. It can even be of you dancing. You can sing. You can do whatever you want to do. It doesn't even have to specifically be about this topic. You can do whatever you want. But I want you, either in the comments or in your bio, or you can go and write something on your post, like over you dancing on the actual video. I want you guys to do some little facts, right? Some little factoids. And I want you to write these down, and I want you to put them on your post. And then I want you to go to the little hashtags, and I want you to do hashtag save the reefs, hashtag protect the reefs, hashtag whatever you want, something that has to do with the coral reefs. That is one way that you can spread awareness. You can also buy stickers, you can print flyers, you can make your flyers and print them. You don't just gotta buy them. Put them up anywhere, local shops. Make sure you ask, because you don't want to get in trouble for putting up stuff that you're not supposed to, so make sure you ask. These are literally just some of the small things that you can do that make a big difference when combined. Yeah. So, coral reefs, they may seem far away, but their future is connected to all of us. And the good news is there's still time to protect them. So do what you can. A little thing turns into a big thing when connected. Like I just said, keep that in your mind. Thank you so much for listening. Peace out.